welcome to Bite Size Dental Marketing. Today I have Ian with me. Ian heads up our SEO department and,
Hey, hey,
and
hey.
all the things SEO. So, Ian, one of the biggest questions we get are, and you've heard it many times. How do I know my SEO is working? And I know we're
Mm,
oversold this get me number one, but get you number one for a keyword that ranks, that has two searches is pretty easy. Getting you number one for a really high intent keyword is a different one.
hmm
How do I know that my SEO is working?
Yeah, the what you just said on the position ranking and the keyword ranking is so true. One of the things that we often get is a client saying, "Okay, what are my rankings doing? Where am I number one for this? Am I number two for this?" But my approach has always been that rankings and where you rank on Google or Bing and the local is just one part of holistically judging whether or not SEO efforts are working.
Mhm.
Because as you just said, you can be ranking number one for a low volume keyword and it looks great on paper, but at the end of the day, if it's not converting into actual people visiting the website or into real traffic, and I don't when I say real, I mean hundreds or into the thousands, not just
Mhm.
five, then it doesn't really matter. So
Right.
what I always like to do is I have my various tools that I take into consideration before communicating whether it is successful what we're doing or whether we are going to pivot and adjust strategies. And one of the ways that we do that, of course, keyword rankings, it gives you an idea of where you're sitting in terms of
Mhm.
your competition in the local area. But I also like to pull in then your Google business profile insights. So to see how many calls is being generated through it, how many direction requests, how many eyes are actually viewing this Google My Business. And sometimes we've seen that a client could be ranking at the 20th position or at the 13th or 14th, what you would consider to be not successful at all. But then when you have a look at the actual Google My Business Insights, you'll see that it's generating a couple of thousand views on that
Mhm.
keyword.
Mhm.
And then usually you're baffled because you'd think, but how is that possible? And one thing to remember is that these keyword ranking tools are not always giving you the full picture. And that's why I don't like to
Yeah.
focus
They're very
on just the
inconsistent.
ranking. Exactly.
Yeah.
They give you an idea, but it's not the end all be all. So going down to the real data
Mhm.
to actual numbers coming through is what I like to do.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. Less I think that keyword rankings are important as an indicator, but if you're not getting calls or if you're getting calls and certainly patients, right? I mean, because that's
hmm
the true, if you start getting patients who said, I found you on Google for this dentist near me, something very specific that you'd want to rank high for.
And on the other side of that coin as well, Eric, it's impossible for us to track every single keyword.
Hmm. Hmm.
And why I say this and why that's also important is because we very often we can play out every single scenario of how a potential patient finds the dental practice. They search this keyword, then they did this. But maybe somebody Googled, they found an image. They liked the image of the doctor. They clicked
Hmm.
on
Hmm.
that. That led them to the Google My Business. That had nothing to do with the rankings. That was
Yeah.
about a user journey that we could not even think, maybe even, okay, social media from Facebook. From Facebook, they saw the name, they searched the name, they saw an image of the practice. They liked the flower bedding in front of the practice, and
Yeah.
that's what made them click on it. Then they pick up the phone and call. And that again just plays into rankings is not the end all be all because you don't always know
Hmm.
what that potential patient journey is to then finally picking up the phone, calling the practice and saying, hi, I would like to come and see your dentist.
No, we live in a complex world to where even if someone gives me a referral,
Mm-hmm.
I still Google them. I still go out and read the reviews, make sure that I feel like they're in alignment with what I want. I still go research any practice or certainly in the medical industry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if someone says go try this restaurant, I'm likely to try it. But if it's going to something a little more personal and intimate on like this is going to be my care provider or
Mm-hmm.
so I
Anything
I
directly with
definitely.
health. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And there's just not a world I think where a dentist picks up. where you say, hey, other than a family member, obviously, I think if my wife said, this is where we're going, like, I think that's where we go. But I think if I told you, hey, I've got this great pediatrician that you should check out, I still think you're researching them
Mm-hmm.
for your kid. I certainly do.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think some of the higher intent keywords are that you've seen?
Well, the near me keywords is always, if you want to go for gold in especially local SEO and
Hmm.
dental SEO, your near me keywords, dental implants near me, cosmetic dentist near me, a dentist near me, family dentist near me. We know that those are transactional keywords. We know that
Yeah,
those are people
that
that are
person's looking
ready.
for a dentist. Yeah.
Exactly. Just like you or I would maybe look for a restaurant, or if we would look for a plumber service close to us, or any type of service that you're ready to
Hmm.
pick up the phone or service. Those are your high transactional keyword, but it's also the biggest fish in the pond. There's a reason why so many people are competing for that, and what we've found is that having a strategy that's a collection of your mid to low volume keywords, but that a lot of people at the end of the conversion funnel is looking for.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
somebody looking for dentist near me could just be trying to feel the waters to see in that area are there dentists. But somebody Googling replace missing tooth from sporting accident or dental implants for smokers or something, if you can answer that correctly and they
Yeah.
get to your page for those, then I would consider those also a high intent
Hmm.
keyword because it's someone with a real problem trying to solve it. And if we can provide that on a client's website from an SEO perspective and it links those two together, you're also highly likely to see a conversion. So
Yeah.
it again, I think it just depends because we can have the dentist near me be a high transactional keyword, but then on the same side, if you have somebody that's looking for something very specific and you can answer that in a way that makes them feel confident in your ability to deliver that for them, then you're also going to get that conversion.
Yeah. I like the long tail keywords a lot. And I think the problem has always been, how do you find the high intent keywords that have volume
Mm-hmm.
for me?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where some of the tools and processes we have. But yeah, like I really like the pages you've built around dental implants for diabetics, dental implants for veterans, dental implants
Mm-hmm.
for others, because I think those are high intent and higher volume keywords. Where dental implants near me is a wildly complex and competitive term that is very difficult to
Mm-hmm.
deal with. Yeah.
And proximity becomes so.
Hmm.
One thing that we've also struggled with in near me keywords is a client would say, I'm in the Dallas area, or I'm in Arlington, or I'm in whatever, a big location with a ton of competition.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then proximity to Google becomes very, very important because it would never recommend a dentist that's 20 miles away from me or 15 miles away from me if
Right.
there's five in my 5 mile radius there are a ton of options.
Yeah.
So in that case, then the near me keywords become a little bit less important to me because I understand that there's a ton of competition in a small area and therefore proximity comes into play. And that's again where the longer tail or more direct match keywords, you do have more chance to rank for dental implants for veterans or dental implants for
Right.
diabetes in a bigger area. So again, you have to adjust your strategy based on how competitive the area is, the size of the area that you're in, what you're trying to target, and that will only then allow you to actually calculate what success looks like for the practice when you go back to the numbers.
Yeah. I think people underestimate how confined dentist near me is to a very specific
Mm-hmm.
geography area. And I think if you search for, I think if you're in a bigger city, and I mean a bigger city, I mean, call it 50,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
where you're dealing with, you have multiple options for any service, and you type near me, I think it's going to give you almost, a neighborhood centric view, where I think if you typed
Correct.
in a different keyword, you would get the whole, perhaps the
Exactly. So if
whole
you said
area. Yeah.
cosmetic dentist Fort Worth, Texas,
Hmm.
that's when Google then looks at the web page instead of the
Yep.
Google My Business.
That's
The
right.
Google My Business would help and still show up, but in that map pack, in the first three results, you would still get the dentist closer to you. But then, if you would scroll just a bit past that and you look then at the first result on the actual search section, that's when the real SEO
Mhm.
strategy starts to come in to rank for those, because the amount of people searching dentist Fort Worth, Texas, that's super high. That's super high,
Right.
and you are more likely to be served to a much bigger audience than, as you were just saying, the near me, which would be on a more concentrated area.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian, thank you so much. And this was your Bite of Dental Marketing of the day.
Thank you so much, Eric. It's always a pleasure to be here.